Yes. So as I said, so the languages which came up were Gujarati, Marathi, Kannada, Bengali, Rajasthani and Odia and Assamese. We will also see how regional kingdoms began to flourish as rulers asserted their independence and broke away from empires. The range of historical sources available for the study of this period is extremely vast, from travelers' accounts, court chronicles, inscriptions, and calligraphy to lavish palaces, temples, tombs, and monuments. So, from these list of things, we are going to get all the information about the religious developments, and those are from travelers, the people who were traveling around, accounts, written all data, court chronicles about the law and order, whatever the courts had, and inscriptions all on pillars. Calligraphy was the writings. To lavish palaces, like how the palaces were built, how people used to stay, temples, tombs were the graves of people, and monuments, documents, and buildings. Monuments are buildings as well. So now, changing names of the land. How did the land change its name? Suppose, how did Gujarat come into existence? How did Assam come into existence? We'll come to know that here. As we study the history of our land, we will notice that India was known by different names during different periods of history. Okay. The early Sanskrit texts during the Vedic period called the tracts of land between the Vindhyas and the Himalayas Aryavarta. We did this in class 6, isn't it? Or the land of the Aryans. The Aryans who were ruling the Himalayan areas were called the Aryavartas because they were run by the Aryans. During the era of the Puranas, the subcontinent was called the Bharatvarsham. During the Puranas, the people during the Puranas times, then it was called the Bharat Varsham. And this term was used to distinguish it from other continents. So from other continents, these huge land masses, other continents. So to make it different from them, this name was given Bharat Varsham. With the coming of the invaders from Central and West Asia, there was a change in the term used to describe the subcontinent. The Persian accounts of the period refer it to as Hind or Hindustan. Hind is a Persian, is derived from the Indo-Aryan terms Sindh and Stan. So that became Sindh and Stan became Hindustan. Means land. Hindustan means land. In the 13th century CE, Hindustan denoted areas around or beyond the Indus River. Now, Hindustan was very large at that time. We didn't have such a small India only itself. The total place where they had come into it was called Hindustan. Everything was included into it. So slowly it got into parts. So that's how we are going to go through this, and we'll come to know how things were divided, how lands got their names, how it changed after a certain period. We'll come to know all about that. The subsequent rulers in the Sultanate and the Mughal periods referred to the realm as Hindustan. Now, in the Sultanate people used to call it Hindustan because mostly the Aryans were also there at that time. Often it referred to the geographical region of northern India from the Himalayas to the Deccan Plateau and from Punjab to Assam. So we are getting from the Himalayas, the Deccan Plateau, that's in the south, and from Punjab to Assam, that's from the north to the east. Okay, so we got our east, west, north, south of India at that point of time. The term has also been applied at other times for the entire Indian subcontinent. In Sanskrit literature, the country is called Bharat, which we are still using. The Indian constitution uses both India and Bharat to describe the country. Okay, is it clear? So we'll mark it till here, and in the next video I'll come with sources of history. Okay.